Welcome, everyone. Welcome to today's Money Counts webinar, and thanks for tuning in. Today, we are talking all about money and relationships. So this is a good one, right? This is a little different from what we usually do. My name is Allie Smith. I'm a specialist here at Penn State's Sokolov-Miller Family Financial and Life Skills Center. I lead the one-on-one financial coaching program here at the center, and I also host this regular webinar series where we cover a new financial literacy topic every other week. I do have one of our wonderful financial literacy ambassadors, Lance, to help me out here today. Lance will be moderating the chat and posting some helpful links and resources in there throughout today's webinar. So be on the lookout for those extra tidbits of information coming through the chat today. As you have questions, if you have questions, you can ask them in the chat or in the Q&A. Lance and I will both be looking at the chat during the webinar, and we will check out the Q&A at the end. The Q&A does allow you to ask questions anonymously if you'd like to take advantage of that. If you are attending from Smeal's Ethical Leadership Challenge, we do have a QR code for you, and we'll post that at the end of the webinar today. Okay, so with housekeeping items out of the way, let me just welcome everyone who has just popped in here. Before we dive in, I would like to take a minute to get to know who's in the room with us today, as always. So I'm going to share out a poll here. Okay, so hopefully you are seeing a poll. It has 3 questions. The first question is just, what is your affiliation with Penn State? We want to know where you're tuning in from or who you are. And then the second 2 questions are multiple choice, so you can select multiple answers for those questions. We want to know who you speak to about money and generally how you feel about talking about money with the people in your life. And just so you know, these polls are anonymous. We'll have a few polls sprinkled in throughout today's webinar, and I can't see who's answering what. So feel free to answer honestly, no judgment. Okay, as these answers are rolling in here, we have a good mix of folks attending. We've got some undergraduate students, some staff, quite a few undergraduate students and staff. We've got some graduate students, faculty, community member. Welcome, welcome. And then there's kind of a big spread here on who we talk to about money. The majority of us are talking to our parents and families about money. A lot of us are talking with our significant others about money, our friends, our roommates, even some campus resources and business partners. So far, no one's answered that they don't talk to anyone about money, which is interesting. So we are having these conversations, which is great. And when it comes to how we feel comfortable, we feel anxious, uncomfortable, some neutral, intrigued. Okay. Got a good mix of feelings. All right. Gonna go ahead and end this poll here. So I think money can be a tough thing to talk about, right? That's why this webinar is so important. Sometimes we might just avoid having conversations about money because we feel uncomfortable or anxious, or we might fear getting judged, right? So we have a quick TikTok here. This TikTok serves as a really good introduction to this conversation. So let's just give this a watch. Oh, can you guys hear this? I may need to redo my screen share. No audio. Okay. Let me fix this. Okay. Let's try this again.
Hey, Dad, how much money do you make?
That's none of your business, son.
Oh, okay. Hey, Mom, how much is our house worth?
The value of our home comes from within.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, sir, just got a promotion.
Cheers to that, man. How much are you making now?
It's really none of your business.
Oh, my bad.
So how did you end up in all this debt?
I don't know. I just never talked about money.
So, does that feel relevant to anyone? Like the first time I saw that, I thought that was a really good kind of conversation starter into this money and relationships topic. But you likely have only learned one way to talk about money, which is not to talk about it, right? And so when you enter into these relationships where you're kind of expected to talk about money to some degree, whether it's with a roommate or a significant other, or even navigating financial matters with your parents or family or siblings, like the only thing we've really learned so far is that we shouldn't talk about this. So that makes having these conversations really tough. And I think not talking about money or avoiding these conversations can put us in this space where, like this guy in the video, we're really uninformed, and that could ultimately put us in a bad situation financially. So it is important to talk about money with the people in our lives, right? We can learn from the people that we manage money with or talk about money with. So, really, my hope with this webinar today is that you walk away being able to more clearly articulate your own money values, and that will really enable you to have more open conversations with those that you manage money with.
Dad, how much money?
Sorry, no matter if that is, parents and family, a potential business partner, or friends, roommates, or a significant other. And just to be super clear, as we're diving into this conversation today, this presentation is not only aimed at couples with shared expenses. We'll look at navigating money in relationships in a variety of contexts, including the ones that you see on the screen here. But even though we are not only talking about managing money with romantic partners, there does seem to be more data out there on how folks in relationships tend to navigate, or maybe avoid, I should say, financial conversations. So I'm just going to drop some stats here, and we will also include links to these articles in the chat if you'd like to read more about the things that you're about to hear me say. So nearly 40% of couples who are over age 25 who live together don't know how much their partner makes, which is really interesting because you're at that point kind of sharing a life together, right? That's an important piece of information. Another study found that folks are twice as likely to feel comfortable talking about subjects like drug use, mental illness, or marital difficulties than have a conversation about money. And then yet another study revealed that people would rather talk about how much they weigh than talk about their credit card debt. So with all of those things said, I think it's safe to say that we'd rather talk about some pretty uncomfortable things before we talk about money. But it is important that we discuss money matters with the folks that we manage our money with, because like we just saw in that TikTok, avoiding conversations about money at all costs can be really detrimental to our financial futures, right? So as we navigate this webinar today, continue thinking about all the people that you talk about money with or manage money with, whether that is friends, family, people at school, significant others, and just think about how you can use the tips that you learned today to navigate money management and money conversations in a more smooth way with these people. And, this actually can be a good thing. Managing money with others is an opportunity to learn from and lean on one another. Managing money with someone else can provide an increased sense of financial wellness. And at the center, we like to think of financial wellness in the present and the future sense. So in the present, managing money with someone else can bring a higher sense of financial security by being able to lend or borrow money from one another when needed, and being able to split bills. For example, having a roommate that you split bills with may give you a higher sense of financial security than living on your own would. You may also experience more freedom of choice, being able to pull your money together with someone else for fun things like trips or larger shared purchases. In the future, you may be able to save more collectively for rainy days than you would be able to separately. This can give you kind of a higher sense of future financial security. And you might also be paying for insurance policies to help protect one another in the case of emergency or loss, which also can bring this higher sense of financial security. And then, of course, in the future, this might come with the ability to, again, save for shared goals, future goals like buying a home, having children, or even retirement. What level of and how far in the future you're able to plan together with someone will, of course, depend on the nature of your relationship. You probably aren't going to have an insurance policy for your college roommate, and that's totally okay. The idea here is really that being able to practice the skill of managing money and communicating about money with others will serve you in the now with the folks that you have these conversations with now. And it will also serve you in the future with whomever you find yourself managing money with in the future. And managing money together can be a really positive thing. When you can agree with someone about money, what you've really ended up agreeing on is your values, your goals, your dreams, your fears, your vision for the future. So not only can you hopefully agree and align on what those things are, but also how you're going to work together to go after those things, which oftentimes involves money and financial planning together. So we're going to dive into this values piece of money today. But it's important to know money management with someone else is not always sunshine and rainbows, right? We have to be prepared for some level of conflict. We have likely all heard the statistic that says that financial stress and money issues are a leading cause of divorce, and I think that's very real. Let me ask the audience here, why do you think there's such conflict when it comes to money? If you're comfortable, go ahead and think about this a little bit and share your thoughts in the chat. So I think we tend to see conflict. Okay, they're coming in here. Had to give you guys some time to think. Yeah, I totally agree with all of these. So like fear of judgment, my needs and wants are more important than yours. The fear of, the other person kind of thinking those things, different points of view on how and when to save or spend or invest. Everyone has a different comfort level with risk. A spender versus a saver can cause distress. Absolutely. People are protective of their money, lack of communication. And again, some people like to save, some people like to spend. Absolutely. Yeah. These are great. Thank you. So I really think we tend to see conflict when it comes to collaborative money management, because our finances can be a significant source of stress and discomfort, and it might not feel good to share those things with other people. Money sometimes feels like a deeply personal topic, and we might have some shame associated with how we've managed our finances, or like maybe the baggage that we have that we're bringing into these current relationships or partnerships. So I think about like debt there. I think that's a big one. And this can cause feelings of shame and fear of judgment when trying to discuss this with others. We generally don't have positive experiences dealing with the things that bring us stress. We also all have a different lens when it comes to how we view money. Much like we all see the world differently, we all see money differently. So you could be having a conversation about money thinking what you're saying makes perfect sense, but to the person you're talking with, it could sound like you're speaking a different language. So we're really going to explore this idea of a money personality. Your beliefs about money, along with your financial habits, make up your money personality. When your money personality is different from the people that you're speaking with about money, it can be difficult to get on the same page. So, having an understanding of what your own money personality is can help you figure out the lens in which you see and deal with money. And having this personal understanding about money can make conversating about it a little bit easier. You've also got to understand that not everyone will see money as you see money, and that's okay. So we're probably all going to have different lenses, right? So let's explore this. What are the money personalities? Dr. Brad Klontz is an expert in financial psychology, and he's come up with 4 distinct money personalities. So the first one is money avoidance. Then we have money focus, money status, and money vigilance. So what are these? Money avoiders distrust money or those who have money. They may self-sabotage financial success, avoid unnecessary purchases, or give money away. They are not likely to be aware of their financial situation. People with money focus believe that an increase in income will solve their problems. They're likely to overspend due to an unconscious belief that more things bring more happiness, which may cause excessive debt. People high in money status connect their self-worth to their net worth. So they believe having more money than others can elevate their value or desirability, and this may cause overspending or excessive risk-taking. And finally, people who are money vigilant are often watchful or secretive about their finances or distrustful of others. They like to save their money and spend frugally, which may limit the enjoyment that money brings. So as we have these up on the screen here, take a minute to think about where you might fall. We are going to do just a quick quiz in a minute, so you'll have the opportunity, like based on that quiz, to see where you actually fall. But just with, what you know about yourself already, look inward and see if you can figure out where you think that you might fall. Okay, so let's see for sure. We have a QR code on the screen here that will take you to a money personality quiz from NerdWallet. It's a pretty short quiz. It shouldn't take too long. Yes. So unfortunately, someone asked if I could show the definitions again. Unfortunately, all the definitions won't pop up at once just because of how we have this laid out, but I'll click through each one and give you like a few seconds to reread them. So money avoiders is the red one. Money avoiders generally distrust money. They distrust those who have money. They don't really want to deal with money, right? They want to avoid it. Okay, thanks, Lance. It sounds like from the NerdWallet quiz, we've got the definitions here. So people in money focus believe that an increase in income generally will solve their problems. This may result in overspending. Folks with money status tend to connect their self-worth to their net worth. They believe having more money will make them, will give them more personal value and make them more desirable as people. Okay, and then money vigilance is folks with money vigilance are very vigilant about their money, right? They're watchful. They could be secretive about their finances. They're very frugal. They like to save and spend frugally. Okay, so hopefully that helped. I do believe, like Lance said, those definitions are also in this quiz. So to find the quiz, you can, if you want to use your phone, scan the QR code and do it on your phone. If you'd rather use your computer, Lance posted a link in the chat. The NerdWallet Money Personality Quiz is what we are hoping that you go through here. And I also want to say, like, go with your gut feeling to answer these questions. Don't think too much about what you feel like is right or wrong when it comes to like societal standards. Just go with like your gut feeling or first instinct. This will give you the most accurate results for your own money personality. Did we all find the quiz okay? I'm thinking so. Once you are done with the quiz, if you wouldn't mind just like posting a done in the chat, just so I can kind of see where everyone's at and keep us on pace here. That would be helpful. Okay, we're all done. Great. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so as we are all finishing up here, I'm going to share out a poll just to see like what are our money personalities here. Again, this is an anonymous poll, so we won't have your information connected to this. I can't even see on my end like who's answering what. So let me launch this out. And once we've answered this poll, I'll go ahead and share this out to you guys too, so you can kind of see like, where do I land with everyone else in our room today? I will say for myself, I'm high on money vigilance and also money focus or money worship. I guess I should clarify NerdWallet. NerdWallet calls money focus money worship. So if you got money worship, that's money focus on the like Brad Klontz test. And we can be multiple personalities, right? So I think in that quiz, they told you if you scored over 8, or if you scored 8 or above in any of the categories, you likely resonate with that personality type. So you might have multiple money personalities. Like I said, I'm money vigilance and money focus. Okay, I'm going to end this and share it out. We have, hopefully you can see what the poll looks like. We have a lot of folks with money focus. Next up looks like is money vigilance, money avoidance, and then the least popular is money status. So this is really interesting. As you got your results, were there anything that surprised you based on, what you were thinking about earlier when we first read through those definitions versus like what you actually got? Okay, so we're saying we expected those. Okay, great. Maybe this just like kind of ironed it in then, your true money personality. Didn't score highly in any category, which is a surprise because you thought your beliefs about money were strong. Interesting. So I do want to introduce like an additional resource to help you figure this out here. The quiz from NerdWallet is a shortened version of Dr. Brad Klontz's full, he calls it the money scripts, the full money scripts test. That one takes a little bit longer, but it's not a super long test by any means, and it's free. So I do encourage you guys to, dive into the full version because you might get more information. It's a little bit more in depth. Of course, it asks more questions, so it can really help you get to the true bottom of your money personality. Lance just shared the link to the full test in the chat. You can also share this with friends, family, those that you manage money with. This could be a great conversation starter about, how do I manage and see money? How do you manage and see money? How can we come together on this and kind of mesh our money personalities? So how can this help? How can understanding your own money personality help you navigate these conversations and money management with others? So for starters, your money personality influences your habits and behaviors around money. You might do something with your money that makes a little more sense to you now, knowing what your money personality is. Knowing your own personality can also help you more easily share your financial values with others. You might be more easily able to put your money values into words or put words to your money values. So if you are arguing over seeing things differently with your partner or family member or roommate, it might be because you have different money personalities and you're looking at the situation with different lenses, right? And how we grew up around money and the things our parents taught us or didn't teach us about money affect our money personalities and our money lenses as well, right? Understanding this about yourself and where you're coming from can also help you see your own potential pitfalls in how you manage your finances. So, for example, money focus or money worship is part of my money personality. So, I know that I have to be careful with my spending and lean on my budget heavily because folks with my money personality tend to overspend. We believe spending and buying more things brings more happiness, and that's not always the case, right? Especially if you are going into debt to buy those things, thinking that they're going to bring you happiness, but in reality, that's just going to cause you more financial stress. So with that said, I do encourage everyone at some point to take the full money scripts test from Dr. Brad Klontz as he shares these potential pitfalls for each type and shares out tips that will be helpful for each specific money personality. This exercise will really help you develop an understanding of your own value system and attitude towards money. Knowing what drives your financial decisions can help you reach your goals, whether that is, spending less on impulse purchases, saving for retirement, saving for a trip, whatever that looks like. And it's also important to note that money management doesn't occur in a vacuum, and other internal and external sources influence our financial behaviors as well. Okay, so next we are going to watch just a 30-second video clip. It's from Seinfeld. If you've never watched Seinfeld, we're looking at George. George is the guy with the glasses who is balding a little. So just pay attention to George and see if you can tell from this interaction what money personality George is.
Oh, I got your coffee.
Oh, here, let me,
Nah, it's on me. Oh, man. Okay, listen, guys, I'm gonna be late. I'll see you, okay?
Yeah.
Bye.
You see what just happened here?
What?
She treated me to the Arabian milk of Java.
And you misinterpret this how?
She's sticking it to me that she makes more money than me.
I'm sure she was just being nice, buying you the coffee.
No, not nice. She's sticking it to me.
You're crazy.
Sticking it to me, Jerry.
George!
Sticking it!
Okay, so I'm going to share out one more poll here. What do we think his money personality is based on what we've just learned about money personalities in general and ourselves? What do we think? A lot of folks are saying money status. And we have a few people who said money avoidance. I'm actually surprised to see so far no one's clicked money focus or money worship. Okay. I agree with what most of you have said, which I think it's money status. I kind of tend to get money status and money focus or money worship kind of mixed up because I think they're similar in some ways, but I think they're also different in some ways. I think money focus is more about what money can bring you, and money status is more about like the feeling associated with having money. Which in that clip, him saying like, oh, you know, she's sticking it to me because she makes more money and she wants me to know that. Like, I think that is a very money status statement. Cool. Okay. So now that we've kind of explored this for ourselves, let's talk about how we might navigate conversations about money with the people in our lives who likely have different money personalities than us. So experts suggest setting regular times to discuss your finances. Really consider the time and place this conversation will happen in. You certainly don't want to spring a money conversation on someone randomly, right? I have examples in my own life where I've had kind of money matters on my mind, and instead of trying to schedule a time to chat graciously about the topic at hand, I've kind of sprung the conversation on the person during an inappropriate time or in an inappropriate place. And those instances actually cause this person to kind of close up even more regarding money and, you know, managing money together, which made it very difficult to have these necessary conversations. So this person that I'm talking about is my husband. And, you know, me being comfortable talking about money because it's something that I do day in and day out, might not translate well, or rather didn't translate well to, you know, having these conversations with my husband, who isn't as open or used to talking about money every day. And so me like poking and prodding, bringing up these random things at like not the best times when we were shopping or like out to dinner with family, whatever, didn't really sit well, right? And so that made eventually cracking that shell and having these conversations really tough. So scheduling time to chat specifically about these things is a really good idea. Make sure it's a private space and a comfortable space. You may even want to schedule these meetings so that they can be expected. For example, maybe every month you meet with your significant other specifically for a budget check-in. That way, each person will come to the meeting with an idea of exactly what to expect from the conversation. Another expert actually suggests avoiding using the word money when talking about money, which I think is really interesting. He suggests rather than putting the sole focus on the money, really honing in on what emotional issues are beneath those dollars and cents. So, for example, when someone is saying, I'm stressed about money, they might be saying, I'm stressed that maybe I've made a mistake here, or I'm stressed that I'm not good enough. And by focusing on these underlying emotions, couples and other folks who manage money together can gain a deeper understanding of each other's values concerning money and hopefully find some common ground. So when conflict inevitably occurs, assess the situation. Is someone at fault here? What does compromise look like in this situation? So for example, if you are a student and your parents give you money to help you cover living expenses during college, and maybe you mismanage that money. Who is at fault? Maybe it's you as the student, but maybe it's your parents. Maybe they have an unrealistic expectation for what your living expenses are. So this warrants a conversation where hopefully compromise can be achieved. Both parties should really be able to tell their side of the story and explain where they're coming from in a calm fashion. So this shouldn't be a fight. This should be a conversation. And you really want to set a time to chat about this when this is the expectation. This is the expectation for the topic of conversation, right? We don't want to dance around this. We just want to lay it out on the table and hopefully talk about it in a calm way. This may require some additional research or an action plan that both parties can agree upon. So like, these are our issues. This is where we're going to go from here. Does this sound good to both of us? This may also require more meetings or more conversations about the topic at hand. So we do want to leave you with some resources and some tips for further exploration as you think about, how do I navigate these things with others? There are apps and websites out there that can help you. For example, Splitwise is an app that is it allows you to keep track of your shared expenses and your balances. It's kind of different from Venmo in that it can keep track of what each person has paid for and kind of keep a running tally of balances that are owed to one another, which you can eventually kind of settle up on. This can help prevent sending the same $20 back and forth like maybe you would with Venmo. Using an app like this can also help start financial conversations with the folks that you manage money with in your life. So this could give you a look at, what are we spending together? Like, you're spending this and we're splitting it, and then I'm spending this and we're splitting it. Should we really be going out to dinner this many times in a week or this many times in a month? Something like this app can kind of serve as a tool to help you start these financial conversations. You also want to be as open and honest about your finances as you can be. I think it can be tough, especially if you feel some shame around your finances, but being open and honest is only going to help you move forward. You can also set financial goals that you can work on together. So for example, when my husband or I forego an impulse purchase, we transfer the money that we were about to spend on that thing, whether it's me about to buy something, him about to buy something, or maybe even us together about to buy something. And we're like, wait, hold up. We don't really need this. This money can be better used elsewhere. What we do in that moment is we take that amount that we were about to spend on whatever it was, and we transfer it into a shared savings account that we use for vacation. So this is a fun way to work on achieving our financial goals together. And it's kind of twofold. Like, we're practicing avoiding impulse spending and we're also saving for a trip. So these are good things, right? And then also be willing to learn more about how to best manage your money and your relationships and growing together, really. The Gottman Institute has a wonderful collection of articles exploring money and relationships. And Lance did post that in the chat. There's a lot of good resources in the chat. The Gottman articles are right after the Splitwise chat. Folks on campus can also help you navigate these conversations. So CAPS for Penn State students offers both individual therapy and couples therapy, where you can work on ironing out your differences, right? And then for Penn State employees, the Employee Assistance Program that we have offers counseling and support for both individuals and couples. We are here to help support and guide you in your journey to financial wellness, whether that is, your own, or if you're navigating it with someone else. Current students can schedule a one-on-one appointment through Starfish to talk through their financial questions and get personalized guidance from me or one of our other one-on-one providers. And we also do partner with PNC to offer financial coaching to staff and faculty. So if you are interested in that as a staff member or a faculty at Penn State, to get connected with PNC, you can email us at finlit@psu.edu, and we'll get you connected with those folks at PNC. You can check out any of our other resources and services by scanning this QR code on the screen or going to our website, which is financialliteracy.psu.edu. And I also want to say all of our webinars are recorded. This one today is recorded. Last week's on saving and investing was recorded. You can find all of our webinars at our YouTube page, which Lance posted a link in the chat to as well. It's at Finlit PSU.